I'm here to talk about why the Phoenix Mercury should not be worried about the things that they can control going into game 2, and a lot of it stems from the defensive end of the floor. Let's dive into the film. Couple of definitions of what we're going to be speaking to in this film session we'll kind of have on a little bit of a display here below me, so walk with me through these things. One thing we'll be talking about is low help, no definition needed for that. The Phoenix Mercury, with their size and their anticipation and the ways in which they go about defending at points of attack, usually tip a hand to the defenders around the basket and help when and the timing with which they should be using to show help in multiple capacities. And that's where a lot of their most active defense comes from generally, just because they're so active in the size and that anticipation piece that I'm speaking to. Number 2 we'll be speaking to, which will have a definition, is trapping the box. So this is a defensive rotation and protection of the basket where a low defender is waiting to pounce and help the person that's on the ball by trapping the ball handler as they drive towards the rim in the lower area of the paint around the rim, trying to keep them from getting a paint touch. Sometimes it happens a little bit inside the paint, but generally this happens around the box area of the floor, the post, if you will, in that area. And yeah, it's an effective way of cutting off drives, keeping players from getting to the middle of the paint, but also funneling them into areas and pockets where a help defense can anticipate, like I was speaking to in the previous topic that we spoke to on late help or low help. And the last topic we'll be speaking to, which will come up in the film session as well, peel switches. This is something you've seen me talk about on Twitter before if you follow me over there. And this is simply a off-ball switch that takes place where a help defender is helping a person that is on the ball to take over for a driving defender, and they basically just switch. So imagine someone's driving to the middle of the paint, and the next closest defender is there in that gap. Rather than the person on the ball trying to work to cut that angle off, they'll concede the angle knowing that they have help at that specific pocket. The person that's in help position takes over for the person on ball, and the person on ball peels off of the person that's driving the ball and goes and switches onto the person that's helping them. So it's like a form of an X, if you will. One person has a steeper angle. They take over the angle of the person that's driving, and the person that's on the ball veers back and they peel off onto the other player that's on offense. So we'll be kind of diving into those things, be looking out for that, and be trying to kind of decide on what you're seeing when you're seeing it, and we'll play a little bit of a game as we go through the film. So let's go ahead and get to the film. All right, first play happening in the first quarter. We're going to see the ball ultimately get back to Sabrina Ionescu. Good screen. And this is not a peel switch, nor is it trapping the box. This is just good late low help. So as we bring it back one more time, you'll see exactly what we're getting at. So we want to pause it here, Kevin, if you can. Boom. So you see already this going to the roller after you see Natasha Mack do a good job of helping Monica Komakani. You see Satu Sabali already peeled in for some low help. Now, if she's not on time and on schedule and even early with this rotation, Jonquel Jones is walking into a layup, getting fouled, or both of those two things. Because Satu is on time and on schedule with her rotation, that anticipation, she forces Jonquel to make a second move after committing to a drive to the basket. That then keeps everybody else in position to be successful on the defensive end of the floor, in addition to being able to apply pressure on Jonquel. And you see what happens as a result from that. Good defense leads to an errant pass, shot that's not in rhythm late in the clock, and this is where the Mercury have been at their best and the best in the entire W, making defense flip into offense and scoring because of the tone that they set with the defense. Great job with the defense. And you see, again, this is an iteration of trapping the box, and it's leading from defense to offense again, resulting in a Sammy Whitcomb 3. But as we see it get back to this same play and it replays again, you want to pay close attention to that low defense. Kalia Copper, not just kind of reverting back as her matchup goes to the other side of the floor, but being in position, understanding what's going on, and knowing where the ball is. And again, the Mercury flip defense and the offense, and that's a Whitcomb 3. A lot more activity from the Mercury on the perimeter. This is going to be a different angle, but you're going to be seeing a little bit of what we see and we call a peel switch here. So as you see the drive that's ultimately going to take place, as it gets to Kennedy Burke, she drives. This is the peel switch dynamic where you see Monica Komakani helping out for Satu Sabali as you see Satu's matchup driving to the basket. Because Monique is already in position, is working smarter, not harder. She just shows help, peel switches a little bit, puts it with activity and aggression as well. And as you see there, she's ultimately going to end up getting a steal. As you get a little bit of a redrive from Kennedy Burke, you see the position in there from Monique. Great hands. It's going to end up resulting in the steal for the Mercury. And then this next one, different angle on the drive, but you're still going to be seeing a lot of the same. And this is, again, Kalia Copper being active with her help defense, trapping the box. So this clip right here that we're seeing was trapping the box is going to lead to an opportunity for the Mercury to score from their defense. Satu's going to knock down one of her 2 threes that she made. Pay close attention to Kyle on this play. The low man here does a great job anticipating the drive, contesting the shot, and then ultimately is going to lead to that offense, that defense to offense sequencing is the Mercury identity this season, flipping that defense and that activity into offense. And then here we're going to be seeing a more unique angle on the drive. Some of the drives we've seen have been from the outside, outer third of the floor. Now we're seeing this one coming from the slot area. Different angle, takes different timing. Credit to the New York Liberty because of the action that they're getting into. There's this kind of quick flip, hand back to Breanna Stewart. Usually you see guards do this with bigs. New York is versatile enough to do this with their bigs, passing it to a guard and then just chasing the pass. And because of the speed at which it's happening, as well as there not being much of any resistance met for Breanna Stewart as she gets it back from Sabrina, that throws off the timing of Alyssa Thomas, who's trying to work to trap the box with DeWanna Bonner. But because the rotation is a little late because of the action and the lack of point of attack defense here, great credit to New York again, but because of this and the way that they compromise the defense, that's a straight line drive, and that's a rare sight that you see from this Mercury defense when they're at their best. But they do have these moments, and this is one that's a credit to the New York Liberty and the kind of timing and the pacing of their play more than anything else. Next clip, doing a good job just kind of picking up on things in transition. A lot of movement going on. Ultimately going to get to Sabrina Ionescu, and we're going to see DeWanna Bonner just attacking the basketball. DeWanna's one of the better rotation defenders in the WNBA for multiple reasons. And as it gets back to the defensive end, which set the tone for the offense to score, watch and pick up on DeWanna early. So her matchup kind of curls through. And instead of fading away, you can see Sammy Whitcomb even communicating with her. You got the low, you're the low man. DeWanna's on alert for that. And because of the activity with which she applies pressure on the ball, trapping the box, you see them ultimately come up with an extra possession. And these margins are very important for the Mercury, these unscripted points that they can create. 15 points off of turnovers from the New York Liberty. They need to be at 15 or 20, between 15 and 20 in game 2 to take home the win. And that's a large portion of their offense, the unscripted points. Great job from DeWanna, gets the steal. Mercury out on the break. Second to last clip here. You get a mismatch, and I want to pause it right here. And I want to pause it here because we see the rotation from Natasha Mack. This is not a pill switch. This is not trapping the box. This is just low help, late activity from Natasha Mack, forcing what would have been a layup against a mismatch, anticipating that drive going baseline, being on time with that rotation. And that puts them in a position to where now the New York Liberty have to take a shot kind of off script. You get the advantage, you get the defense to react, but the Mercury are so on schedule with their rotations and kind of helping the helper, if you will. They're able to not just contest the next shot, but do a good job of really impacting the release of that shot. And we're going to see the result of Emma Mieseman as this shot goes up on goal. She doesn't even get a chance to get it up on goal because of the help. And now we want to pause it here again because now you see what took place. Initially, Sammy Whitcomb was in a mismatch with Leonie Fibich in the post. They end up getting the rebound after they do a good job rotating defensively. That ends up leading to another mismatch, this time with Sammy Whitcomb now being matched up with the opposing 5 here in this lineup and Emma Mieseman. And now understanding the way that it's set up defensively, the Mercury realized second chance opportunity. There's another mismatch that they have to work to suss through. Watch what DeWanna Bonner does with her decision-making as well as where Natasha Mack is in the middle. Shrink the floor, do it with activity, and then Natasha Mack is then going to also be able to get a deflection. So you see it flow through in real time. You can get a feel for the decisions being made with the timing and the activity that they're working with. Another mismatch after the offensive rebound, a second chance opportunity. They do a good job of shrinking the floor. Natasha Mack anticipates the cut from Breanna Stewart, the 45 cut, ends up in a steal. And then final clip here for this film session. This is going to be, again, them just playing with great activity, putting good pressure on the basketball. Satu Sabally doing such a great job of containing the drive that this is a trap the box rep here as Monica Komakani helps out from the low man position. But Satu does such a great job just corralling and funneling the drive and sticking to the hip. The help is there if it's needed, but it ultimately isn't even needed because of how great Satu is on this rep. This is a really good rep at a crucial point in the game to where the Mercury needs to get some stops and kind of create some scoreboard separation. This is what you want if you're a coach. You want to see your players doing such a great job containing drives that the help is there if it's needed to be supplemental, but it's not out of necessity. It just kind of complements everything that Satu does, ultimately forces yet another turnover. And this was like close to number 20 in terms of turnovers for the New York Liberty in this game. Not a team that turns the ball over a lot unless they're playing against this Phoenix Mercury team. And it's largely because of individual multiple efforts like we see from Satu Sabali on Breonna Stewart here. There you have it. The Phoenix Mercury, very, very active from my eyes. The second best defense in the W comprehensively this season. No teams turn defense into offense as much as they have. And when they're able to lean into the identity and the habits and principles that they've established within their identity on the defensive end, with the activity that they can compile across multiple lineups, that's when they're at their absolute best. And we see when they play to those strengths, they're a team that can score before defense gets set. And that's an important portion of the offense for them. They have 15 points off of turnovers. In that game one against the New York Liberty, they need to compile some of those similar efforts in game two. Should they do so and their scoring get back closer to what their averages were across the entire season, that's the team that's going to win. And we'll be back here in Phoenix for game 3 on Friday.